Hello everybody and good morning. Welcome to the Top Producer Show. So our mission is to educate, equip, and train servant leaders. Our vision is to create financially independent achievers, and our purpose is to help people grow. And right now we're going over the book by Grant Cardone. If you're not first, you are last. And we are on chapter 17 today, which is Your Freedom Financial Plan. So before we jump into that, we need to invite some people onto here. The funnest part and the part that takes the longest. So if you just give me a moment here. It is Friday, about to head into the weekend. Lots of stuff to do. And we're about to go into the end of the month, and usually the end of the month is when everything picks up more. With recruiting, that is. It's always like there's always those people that you'll get at the beginning of the month, but then at the end of the month, that's when a lot of people get all their bills paid, and that's when everybody usually is ready to start investing and are ready to start working on stuff. So which is kind of nice. That's why we always have, for our company, we have our regional event at the end of the month. So that way going into the beginning of the month, people are a lot more excited.
You are on mine, right?
Yep, I am on yours.
Because it's not showing up. Okay, come down here. Shamalasi.
There you go. Alrighty.
Okay, guys, we're about to get rolling. I just have to link to a couple people here. And for whatever reason, this is being slow. Technical difficulty, but we're getting it solved. You are currently offline. Refresh. Your internet has been restored. Thank you. Lauren. What was our last name? It's Laura. From New York. There we go. Okay. Sorry, it took a minute there. Jordan, how are you? Got everybody solved here. So we are on chapter 17, Your Freedom Financial Plan. It says, while some mistakenly say that the love of money is the root of all evil, I believe it's more accurate to suggest that the lack of knowledge about money is really the cause of most people's financial problems. So many of us have so much false information regarding money. Obviously what you teach, what's on TV, etc., etc. So many of us have this false information regarding money, finances, budget, debt, income, that it's no wonder that most people never accumulate any wealth. The reason why it's easy to accumulate wealth is because nobody's even trying to do it. And what I mean by nobody's trying is nobody's actually out there doing the research, trying to figure out how to do it. If you misunderstood money, how effective can you possibly be at acquiring it? Like, it's impossible to keep something you don't know anything about. Laura, hello. Foreclosures, bankruptcies, out of control debt, failing businesses, and government unable to balance books all point towards a culture that is either lacking or lacking or has incorrect information on the topic of money. I would honestly expect that it's a great deal of both problems. So he kind of agrees with Robert Kiyosaki that the lack of financial, he said that the most devastating and the most enslaving thing in our culture is actually the lack of understanding of finances. It's not something that they teach at school. It's not something that's taught in society, and there's a reason for it. The television, if you look at what television is called programming. If you look at what the radio is called programming. It's called programming for a reason. They are literally trying to program you to think and believe certain things. Why is it that if we live in a financial economy, it costs money for a house, it costs money for a car, it costs money for an education, it costs money for food, it costs money to take care of kids, it costs money to have pets. Why in the hell are we not teaching people about money? And there's a reason. It's really easy to control people who are stupid about money. I've obtained an accounting degree in college because I thought it'd be better served in the business world if I understood about money, finances, and accounting. But after 5 years of college, degree in hand, I couldn't get a job. I didn't know how to produce income or a checkbook. I lacked the practical understanding of money or finances, and I owed the government about $70,000 in student loans. Awesome plan, right? We're going to teach you about money and then put you in debt for the rest of your life. Well, that means you didn't learn shit about money. He says, I think this is the case for most people, whether they have a degree or not. People tend to think that attending college will provide them the information. Unfortunate truth is this is usually not true. Most of the countries, failing banks are run by individuals who went to the highest ranked schools. Robert Kiyosaki goes into this too. He goes, think about this. He goes, the smartest people that went to the best institutions are going on live TV telling you they had no idea this was coming. Isn't that their fucking job to know it's coming? I mean, like, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to predict shit like this, but they had no idea. Or they were in on it, would be another way to say it. Why? Because it's profitable. Most of the country's failing banks, highest ranked people, best known business schools on the planet. Yes, they still seem to lack the knowledge of how to keep their own businesses viable and solvent. Even the people who think they know about money seem to be a bit confused, and they don't have to look very far to see this. People wonder, where should I invest? Where do I invest? Do I want debt? Is a home an asset or a liability? What is the difference between a budget and a financial plan? It's all bad credit. Should I invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds? He's kind of like, where do I go? He goes, I know people who won't buy anything if it isn't on sale, yet who are still broke because they don't understand how to produce real income. They spend their entire life thinking that money is scarce. Just to let you guys know, there's no shortage of money. There's no shortage of money. It's fake. They print it. I mean, once I got this understanding that all money is fake, it's fake. Like, unless you're dealing in gold, unless you're dealing in silver, an actual tangible asset that appreciates and does it, they only make so much of it. Like, you can make a fake diamond and you can make fake emeralds in lab created, but you can't really make fake gold. Now there's gold-like substances, but you can't make fake gold. Now you can do gold-plated, but even the plating over the top is actually physically worth something because it's tangible. You have to find it in the ground. There's only so much of it. It is scarce. Diamonds are not scarce. Diamonds is a completely false, fake created environment to basically sell a stone that's easily found. Now it's not easily cut, I'll tell you that. It's, there is an art to it. But it is nowhere scarce at all. You can look this one up. They actually created the entire demand for the stone in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. They ran like a 30-year campaign. It's fake, guys. The problem is most of what we've been taught is absolute bullshit. It's programming. It was set up from, the top down, teaching everybody this one way to think. And if you don't think that everything is set up, if you break the word university down, I mean, when I got this was just wild. if you break the word university down, right, that's where you're supposed to gain knowledge. That's where you're supposed to gain insight. That's where you're supposed to be, that you're going to learn about the world and diversity. Break the word down, university, in Latin. Uni means one, and versity means way to learn. They literally put it right in front of your face, and people are so stupid they don't see it. One way to learn. They're only teaching you one way to learn about money. They're only teaching you one way to learn about life, and it's programming. So that way you get stuck following their system and paying their taxes and paying into the system that they want you to pay into. It's awesome. Not really. People who go to work every day and just earn just enough money to pay their bills need not wonder why they're not motivated. You cannot possibly be driven to succeed if you have no clue what to do with the rewards of your efforts. In order to survive and prosper during a recession, it is vitally important to understand the basics about money, including terminology, in order to eliminate confusion. For instance, what is the difference between income and cash flow, good and bad debt, or assets and liabilities? Most people have no idea. You have this conversation with them like, I don't know. It's the same thing. The degree to which you understand these words limit what you understand on the subject matter and limit what you earn. I know some of the most intelligent people on this planet who ended up dead broke because they were masters at their trade but didn't understand how to manage, invest, and make their money grow. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. They were missing the understanding of the very wealth that they worked for hard to amass. Get a few straightforward books on money and learn everything you can about this topic. People who have money in the bank and growing investments make better sales and business people. So he's like, if you want to be in business, this is something you have to understand. Nobody wants to buy from a broke salesperson. Like, it took me a while to get that, but nobody wants to join a broke salesperson either. You know, a lot of the reason people have such a hard time in direct sales, network marketing, MLM, and they have a hard time growing a business is a lot of people have a problem joining somebody that doesn't have their finances straight. You know, if you're always borrowing money, always asking for money, always bitching about money, always worrying about money, that's not somebody that you really want to follow, because you're like, shit, they're in the same position I am. Why would I want to follow them? They're just as lost as I am. You want to get some of this stuff straightened out. So understanding all the terminology that gets used in financial planning, money, finance, savings, and debt won't necessarily make you feel financially secure. It's just the first step to increasing. The reason most people don't want to go learn about it is they're like, I don't want to learn that I'm more in debt, but you have to understand where you're at if you plan on getting out. Like, that's the first step. That's the first step of all psychology. If you want to fix anything, any kind of trauma, you have to learn where you're at and what's going on. You know, everybody thinks, they're alone. And when you start learning about this stuff, you realize you're not alone, no matter what's happened to you. Bad stuff happens to everybody, unfortunately. Solvently is a different concept of profitability, which refers to the ability to earn a profit. Businesses can be profitable without being solvent. When they are expanding rapidly, they can even be solvent while losing money when they cannibalize future cash flows, like selling accounts receivable. A business is bankrupt when it is unprofitable and insolvent. Insolvent, the ability not to have any profit at the end, even if you sold everything you had. This is where most people fail with financial planning. They never create a plan that makes them solvent. They spend the lion's share of their time on budget preparations, car payments, mortgage payments, credit card payments, gas, electric, other utilities, insurance, food, restaurants, entertainment, dental, medical. They completely disregard the more important issues like future needs, savings, self-improvement, education, children's education account, vacation fund, home improvement, retirement fund, and they're left only with the budget, never creating any financial plan. They spend their entire lives paying others, and they never really get, a sound funding themselves. So you pay into all these places, even if you sit down with most financial planners, you have to understand the difference between a broker and a fiduciary, which most people don't understand. And I didn't understand until I started reading Money, Master the Game by Tony Robbins, Unshakable by Tony Robbins, and now I've spun off and read, several of Robert Kiyosaki's books on money. I had no idea about this subject. I just had a conversation with my mom about this. My mom was like, your brother, and, we were talking about, myself and my brother and everything, and I said, I'm going to ask you a question. I said, now, this isn't pointing fingers. I'm just asking, why did you never teach us about money? And she's like, well, and I was like, now, you said, get a job. Like, you said work, and you said save, but there was no actual plan, save. Okay, what does that mean? How much, what percentage, where should it go? You never said anything about investments. We never talked about investments. And she was like, yeah, I completely missed the boat on that. Which is, it's fine. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying, we never talked about this. Why? She's like, I don't know. We just never, living life, never got around to it. And it was a great conversation. She's like, now we can talk about it, and I wish I would have. And I said, well, you got 3 grandchildren, maybe 4 on the way. You might want to look into that.
I'm not pregnant. He said 4 on the way. I'm not pregnant. Let's.
Yeah. We'll get like 7,000 calls later today. We're like, oh my God. We actually do have a stroller, and I was like, we should take a picture of the stroller with like the 2 of us next to us. Like, guess what we did? And then be like, but it's for the cats.
Yes.
Right, bad kitty. Yeah. Want to go outside. Okay, one of the reasons why so many people never seem to have enough money is they focus their attention on their budget instead of an actual plan. You need to ask yourself the following questions. How much money do you really need in order to live? How much money do you need in order to fund a future retirement plan, vacations? Typically, if you want to really, really help people, stop trying to tell them to save money and cut their budget and teach them how to make more money. Is the basics to it. During tough times, your customers will have either their attention pinned down on the same area that everybody else is looking at and be more reluctant to make purchases. Since they're focusing on their budget, you have to do a better job of basically at unpinning them to show them products and services that can actually help them expand, show them how to make more money. So this takes time to determine how much money you'll actually need to spend. So your financial freedom plan. What is the major difference between a financial plan and a budget? A budget is what you have and what you're spending. A financial plan is where you need to go, would be the easiest way to say it. What does a financial plan provide? To what does a financial plan provide basic entry? What does a person who has a financial plan make a better salesperson than one who does not? Because it's not as fun to basically follow somebody that doesn't have anything. Give 4 examples of why you can tell that there's not a shortage of money on the planet. Well, the fact that they print it would be the first one. There is no shortage of money. If you came out with an idea right now that was better than anybody else's idea, there's enough money out there that they would take from all these different places that money's sitting, and they would transfer it. Billions of dollars would transfer over, and we've seen this happen. That's how Snapchat became a billionaire in like 4 years. That's how, Netflix and all these companies who got all these investors, GameStop, but that's a total nother story. And there's a lot of games played. I'm not saying that the stock market is the only way to do this, but if you have the right idea, people will flock and the money comes in and they'll print more of it, obviously. The unfortunate part is if you don't understand about money, every time they print, it devalues the dollar. So now what happened is by printing money, sending it, this is insanity. They're going to print money, give you this much of it, and then tax you on it at a higher bracket. That's called completely and totally fucking you over and screwing your future. Because, you created inflation on something, so we didn't have enough to begin with. Then you gave it to us. Then you tacked us higher, and then you spread that out over payments that you're going to, charge us on. So basically, you can take your $1,400 and fucking burn it because that's about what it's worth. Now, you're going to be able to buy something right now. But what did they do to the future of the dollar? You actually, if you have anything on you, it just became worth less. And if you don't understand inflation and money, you won't get that. But for the people who do, that's who it was for. So that's what we got for today. Tomorrow is Saturday, so we won't be here doing this. But Monday, we're going to be going over Chapter 18, the most important skill needed to advance and conquer. The most important skill you need to learn. So that's Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. What else?
Something I wanted to add, because Jeff talked about how people don't want to follow leaders who don't have their money situation in order. Since we've been in network marketing for so long, we've actually found that we could tell the leaders who don't have their finances in order and don't have their money straight, because the times where they need to invest in their team and need to invest in what they're doing, they don't do it because they're like, I don't have enough money. And it's first, when you have your money situation in order, you're able to think broader and you're able to think further ahead. But when you don't have your finances in order, you got to think, oh my God, I have this bill I got to pay, I got this, I got to take care of kids. And you're thinking short term rather than long term, because if your basics are not being taken care of, then you can't think ahead. So we found that even when we've worked with people in the past, we could tell the people who had their finances in order from people who didn't, because we would say, hey, we really need to incorporate this. Like, it would be awards. Like, we need to incorporate these awards to the team to motivate people and get people more excited about promoting. And they would say something like, oh, well, we don't want to do that because it costs too much money. I'm like, it's a piece of paper and a nice picture frame. Like, we would make like something as a plaque, and they were like, oh no, it's too much money. I'm like, that's a lot of money. But it's also time. Like, people don't like change, but then also that was an issue too. So that's something that when people are trying to grow a business, or if they're coming in looking at a business, those are things that people look at, where later when they're thinking about it, they'll be like, you know what, it looks neat, but something's off. Like, sometimes people don't always know how to identify it, but it's something that it just doesn't come off well when people are looking, which is why these people end up coming by later, and they're like, I don't understand why I can't build. Why don't these people want to work with me? And it's like, well, you're always bitching about how much stuff costs, and nobody wants to hang out with people who bitches about that. Like, people want to hang out with people where they're talking about getting ahead, setting goals, going on trips, and going and doing things that people want to go do. So you want to make sure that your conversations with people are attractive, so that way you can attract people. And it's okay, every once in a while life happens and you got to figure some stuff out. Like, if somebody passes away in the family and you got to figure it, or somebody gets sick, you got to figure things out. It's okay to be honest in certain situations, but you just want to make sure it's not something that's all the time. And going and getting educated about these things really does help. Like, I loved Robert Kiyosaki's books for this reason, because I wasn't taught anything about money. And just like with Jeff's parents, he was taught to go get a job and save money, but that's it. So going and getting educated on what to do with your money once you have it, and how to work all that out, and getting financially smart really does make a difference. So with that was my takeaway for today, and it is the weekend. If you guys haven't gone to the Top Producer Show Facebook page, you want to go join that page, and also go subscribe to us on YouTube. Each one of these videos is going to be uploaded to there. That way, if you want to go back and rewatch this, you are more than welcome to. So that is what we have for you guys today. Hold on, I need to get you off my lap, otherwise I can't press the button. And we will see you guys on Monday.